Hey everyone, welcome to a special episode of EduMatch. So I have with me joining me Lynn Colon. So welcome Lynn. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to start the conversation.
Thank you. Super excited to have you on with us. So for anyone who doesn't already know you, could you tell us a little bit about your background and who or what inspired you to go into education?
Of course. So I am currently the Director of English Services in Prince William County, principal at an elementary school. Uh, Before that, I was an assistant principal at a Title I school, and I was also a teacher there. I started as a social worker, and I get to use that every day. I'm originally from Puerto Rico. Had my education, my formal school education, there a little bit of college, and then came here and did the master's degree and all that stuff. Currently working on my doctoral work, but passionate about education. I come from a family of educators. My mother was an English Puerto Rico, and my grandmother was the school custodian. So that our family values. So I couldn't get away. I started with social work, and then yeah, my teacher's kid. So I ended up doing this, and I get to live my passion every day, Sarah. There's not a day that I wake up and I question that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. That is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So awesome. So speak to us about some of your passions in education.
So I'm very passionate about English learners, and of course, because I'm an English learner myself. I tried coming here when I was 10 years old and was told I needed to be retained because I didn't speak the language. So I was crushed and went back home to Puerto Rico, and then came back when I was 15. And remember being at the Capitol steps here in Washington, D.C and knowing, okay, I'm gonna live here one day. Then there was a girl that was standing next to me, and she said, "Well, you need to learn English before you do that." And that just that got me fired up and inspired just to work even harder. I ended up coming here when I was 19 because of the military. Came with my family and people that struggle with the language, and I could identify it. So every day in my work, I'm passionate about sharing my story with others, using the opportunity I've been giving as a director to sit at the table with people who are making important decisions and reminding them that there's some people that might not be there yet, but they do have the potential to make a difference and to grow as well.
That is super inspiring. So I love hearing about your story. I love hearing about just everything that went into your background to become an educator and to bring you to where you are today. So that's super cool. So we first connected online, but recently we met face to face at Visti. So could you tell us a little bit about the work that you do on the Visti board?
So a lot of advocacy, and because I was a principal, right, and a principal when I joined the board, I was a principal of a very diverse school, which was one of my, I love what I'm doing now, but leading a school where there's students from all over the world was an amazing experience. So what I learned there at Visti is the advocacy and making sure that there's access for sometimes we see students with special needs or that they don't speak the language, and we think that because they're not ready with that piece yet, they're not ready for innovation and technology. So I have been able to use my voice and my experiences to make sure that there's access to our students, no matter where you come from, no matter your disability. So that has been very, very, very neat. Just to be able to speak from my experience as a school leader, and also from someone who lived in a different country, in another country, and can say, okay, when they come, let me help you understand what they have access to and how to transition them into all the wonderful things that we have to provide here in our and how to make school a better place. students make that transition.
Well, that is awesome. Like your passion just really comes through. Like every time I hear you talk about this. So we had a really great conversation on Voxer surrounding pretty much this topic right here, using technology and innovations to support language acquisition. So, how might educators best leverage these resources with English learners?
It just I think what I see, and I hate to come from a deficit model, but as I talk to people, I think that they look at it, okay, they don't know the language, they don't speak the language, so let me take it down to a, let's say, a middle schooler to a kindergarten level, right? And that's not necessarily how it works for our kids. So there's so many resources and opportunities to expose our students rich language, right? And I'm not saying that technology is going to replace the conversation, but I think that there's this balance that we can find, and as a result, get to that sweet spot where our kids have access to handle it. Even I'll use myself as an example, Sarah. Sometimes I sit in meetings where there are because the work that I do has a lot of legality and all that, and it takes me a minute to process. But just because I'm an English learner does not mean that I can handle it, right? So exposing them with the technology, but then with support. I think one cannot happen without the other. So that marriage of, again, whatever software you want to use, whatever tool, but then always that adult support.
Totally. The support to scaffold it. Absolutely. I love that. So, you introduced me to a really great resource from the Office of EdTech, which was EdTech for English Learners Toolkit. So, what were your takeaways from that report?
I am so excited because this is something that it just blends two of my passions, technology and English learners. I we are so ready for this. Our kids are so ready for this, and I think that again, the L community, we need to move from a deficit approach of kids can't to kids can, because there's no can't do the scripters. We have can do the script. This is a great opportunity for our students to have access and to sit in a classroom where they will be exposed to the same things the other students are. I did a little bit of work as a teacher with robotics, and I saw how our L's just flourished in the language of coding. It was just amazing to see the things that they were able to do. So I'm very excited about this toolkit. I stand ready to support our teachers and give them the fight for the resources, and give them the professional development they need to make sure our kids win as a result.
Absolutely. When we can utilize all of these great resources, then our students do win. So that is a great point. And I love what you brought up about coding and just really having that innovative content brought into the classroom. So that's excellent. So you also shared with me in that same conversation a great idea regarding one thing that you'd like to see future ready else. So what would that look like?
Can you imagine if our kids could speak the language of innovation, right? And we're not so focused on how you correctly say words or the length of your essay, but show me what you really with your brain, right? How creative you can be, the language of creativity, the language of coding, the language of innovation. I think that would be such a beautiful thing, empowering for our students, because I don't ever want to see our else losing where they're coming from, right? That cultural competency piece is so important. And I know that I struggled when I came here because I had to lose some of those things to leave room for the language and the expectations that America had of me. But to have kids be future ready else, that they can step into the workplace and say, I might not be the most proficient language, but I can speak the language. I can show you a video, with technology would just be amazing.
Yeah, totally. Totally. That is super cool. I love that idea and I'd love to see that come to fruition. So excellent, excellent. So you have a book coming out shortly. So I'm excited to hear about this. So could you tell us more about your book?
Oh, I love that too. It's co-author with Adam Welcome, who is one of the authors of Kids Deserve It. And we have written this beautiful work about empowering girls into, careers that there's not a lot of representation. We talk a little bit about worth and how mentoring is so important, right? And how we need to move from you're being bossy, maybe you're being a leader, and being intentional about the work that we're doing with our girls to inspire them to move into, more of the science and technology fields. I learned so much about myself, uh, Sarah. It challenged my thinking. Even something as how when we are addressing a big audience, we say, "Hey guys," instead of girls and ladies and gentlemen, and interviewing people for this work was just thing. I think we've made strides, but there's some more work that needs to be done. And if we're intentional about it, I think we can raise girls that feel empowered to just do anything they can and be anything they want to be.
Super exciting and very much needed. So really looking forward to the book coming out, and I will definitely be looking for an autograph when it does. So,
Yes, yes. You'll get one for sure.
oh, thank you so much. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. So, what are some other things that we can expect to see from you in the near future?
I'm excited about the toolkit. So that's something that I'm focused on right now. And I'm also uh, I say losing sleep because I have sticky notes all over, but I'm working on a framework for leaders of L's and not necessarily principals or people at the district level, but even people in the classroom, right? Because our teachers can be leaders, but how are we leading English learners? And I think there's some work that we can do to advocate for the ones that can't speak and advocate for themselves. So using my story everywhere I go to let people know that we can. Our kids truly can. If I did it, we can we can move mountains with our also. Yeah, just that I'm enjoying learning a lot and just hoping that I can leave a legacy where people feel inspired to just continue this work and inspiring our youth to get into this amazing profession. We need more of our kids to just want to become teachers because you and I know we need it. So we need good leaders out there to continue the work and keep going through brick walls.
Totally, I hear you on that. And that sticky note life, we're part of that sticky note squad, having the sticky notes everywhere. But yeah, so look at you,
Yeah.
right on cue, right? But that is awesome. That is awesome, and I appreciate all of the work that you're doing. So, so I'm sure people are going to want to connect with you. So, how can people learn more or get in touch with you online?
So I am on Twitter at the Colognes. Um, will it be there? Will you type it or okay? So at the Colognes, I'm also on Lynn Colon, and I'm also on Facebook. You can get in touch with me. Can send me a inbox or whatever. I'm very passionate about this, so I'll respond back, and we can have a conversation about how we can make this feel better for our kids. They deserve it. So yeah, feel free.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lynn, for taking the time and coming on Edu Match.
No, thank you. Thank you
Oh,
for everything you're doing. Beautiful work. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to see, all the great things that are happening. I'm a fan, so thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you. It's definitely mutual. So I'm looking forward to more collaborations down the line. So thank you again for taking the time. And thank you to everyone who's watching. And this will be out in a couple of weeks as a podcast as well as on Facebook. So really excited about that. For everyone who's tuning in, just remember to come back Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be talking about taking a risk in the classroom. So you could find that at podcastwithanS.edumatch.org/tweet talk. So everybody have a great evening.